YouTube new family. What is going on? Daniel here for another video for the channel. So, authentic for this one. Don't know what I'm going to talk about. I had a title for many days. I was speaking with my coach about it and said my title will be this. I'd be speaking about this. But somebody just told me to come on here and speak. It's been a few days since my last video. And, you know, in terms of the growth I've had thanks to my coach, it's all been crazy internal things have been changing, crazy perspective I've been getting. I just see myself getting more and more elevated in terms of my frequency, where I'm seeing I'm actually at in terms of energy and where I can give myself to people and time I can give to people or not. And when you're on this journey, which is what I show with my lifestyle, you can see it on Instagram. You can see my stories as well on my Instagram today. I think they're very empower, and they're just getting better and better because I'm starting to understand more of the game that is life and how it's played, and the art of living truly. Like I mentioned before, I was lost in lust for many years. Former pickup artist, you can say, and my whole identity was women, and all I did was center around how I could sleep with more women. And I started with the basics, not even being able to speak with girls when I started out when I was like 21, and then being able to move up the ranks, you could say, to where I was doing things that I was blowing my own mind. I thought I was with God, but He was watching, but not with me. I was simply with the devil, and I kept pushing the envelope more and more. Things that I saw in movies, I tried to replicate. I was always someone that was looking to do things that were taboo, things that many people thought maybe were weird. So I did the common things. Eventually, did group stuff, threesomes, sex clubs, sharing girls, multiple girls in a day. Started going into other fetishes, stuff I won't talk about. Actually, I will. Uh, so, stuff of like peeing on girls, and that type of stuff, BDSM. Eventually, even wanting to go as far as like, um, as far as like, you know, number two on someone's chest, like shitting on someone's chest. That was my final thing that I wanted and didn't get. Thankfully, it's very gross. I think about it, but um, yeah, these are things that you know come with the rabbit hole that is the game, we used to call it, and the world of women. But the game you don't see is the traps that are there, the things that keep you low frequency and keep you dependent on something outside of yourself. You think it's in women, so you up the ante, like I said, and you start small. You start with one girl, and then you want like an open relationship. You want to be with multiple girls, and you want three. And then it just goes up and up and up. Then eventually, the stimulation, you can't get more stimulation from the sex. You start adding other things, substances. Maybe you want to mix drugs in girls, drinking in girls. So it's constant stimulation that gets you away from your truth and your purpose. When I started out, it was something that was actually building me, and I'm proud of in a way who I became because I was not using substances. I was doing everything sober. But eventually, when I started adding substances in, it started getting out of hand, and lust started creeping in. And I mentioned this before, but there was nights where just because I didn't sleep with somebody and didn't get another notch on the belt, I couldn't sleep. Like I remember just being in my head, like stressed, anxious because like how am I going to get this number? I had this number that I set um, in 2020 of how many women I was going to sleep with, which I was 40, and I hit 39. But I remember the whole process. It was like this quota that I had to meet, and all the relationships I built were all very superficial. Just basically meeting them and seeing how fast I could sleep with them, and basically writing the name, the number, and then going about my life. It wasn't until I got halfway through that I met the um, second girlfriend I had, and that was a gift because at that point I was very lost, like I said, in just superficial things, helped me to build a connection with someone that, you know, to this day I still have love for and wish them the best. And it was something that shaped me in terms of getting me out of that darkness. Because when I was there, we even started open, and I just was so lost in just the next girl, and even while she was with me, I just abused that that pact we made, you could say, or that agreement. And you know, it was simply me realizing that now that I was lost in that I can speak this way and give a reflection of that lifestyle, because it's glorified. Like I said, if you speak with men and, you know, they speak about this area, many of them wanted the experiences that I had of like multiple girls and whatever it is. And having done that and doing it pretty fast in 3-4 years, takes, you know, a lot of men longer than that. I realized that the faster you get things, the faster you go with the devil. The faster he is giving you these fake narratives, these fake things that you believe are you. And I believe for the longest time that I was this playboy, like, you know, never going to be married, never going to be a relationship. You know, I thought it all weak, and I never was fulfilled. I got the highs, don't get me wrong. It's all like, you know, flesh highs, desire highs of, you know, you get the little high for maybe an hour, few hours. You can, you know, brag about it to your boys. Let me fix this camera quick. It's gonna bother me. Um, flaunt it, you know, to the boys you're speaking with or whoever it is, but eventually it's something that doesn't fulfill you. And you know, it's a place where you can get very lost in the addiction that is women. I didn't see it as an addiction when I was there, but when I look back, you can see pictures of me. I shared another video of my eyes, and you know, I firmly believe that you can get to a place where you don't understand the consequences of, you know, this lifestyle. And you know, you believe it's maybe just bad karma of like breaking someone's heart and, you know, just using women. But it gets deep. I've met people that have, you know, sacrificed and suffered a lot in terms of, you know, the things that they didn't see coming. So you know, obviously common ones: pregnancy, STDs. Other one is charges. You could be out and then be in an altercation. There's also allegations, um, rape allegations that couldn't come out, especially if, you know, women aren't feel like they're not treated properly. And like I said, you're just using and disposing of women, and you know, the energetic transaction of that, you know, leaves people feeling empty. Imagine you being a girl and you just meet a guy, and you know, he just uses you for sex and just throws you, and you see him with other girls. You don't feel like a human. You feel like an object. And it's fair. And you know, I've had close calls with, you know, just, you know, not seeing the people the way they are, and you know, them getting the wrong idea, wrong message. And like I said, I was always pushing the limit and always pushing, and I had very close calls. And that's why I know God is with me, and that's why God is here, with me now on this journey, and also making give this message, because I want to be authentic. I want to be something that's not scripted. I want to be something that you understand that, you know, the life you're living right now, that you're an ego chasing, and like I said, maybe you're just starting, maybe you've been in it for a few years, and you're adding these experiences to your belt. It's not something that's going to fulfill you. I believe that going into it, I know that now it's not the way, and it's only when you get to that last desire and you realize it that you'll understand. My whole goal is for people to see it beforehand. That is the toughest thing, because your ego is running the show right now. Your ego is the one that's creating the stories and the feelings you think you're going to get with these experiences. So anybody telling you anything is never going to get you out of it, even someone that's been in it, like myself. And I realized that, you know, spirituality is the way out. That's why I focus so much on this area. It's why I've been able to remove the lust, remove any thoughts of, you know, low flesh desire things, you know, masturbation, pornography, chasing women, messaging women to get them out, to just, you know, have casual sex. These are all things that have been removed, thanks to Jesus, God, literally, because it's not something that you can do overnight, and it feels like something that happened overnight, you know, after a few months. Before I had the right habits and right things, but it wasn't something that I had the ability to really understand and, you know, capture how to get over it, because, you know, I was had the right habits, the waking up on time, gym every day, nutrition, stuff like that, and reading the Bible. And you could say I was connecting in a way, but I was not as connected as I am now, and not as able to feel the things that I feel now, connected with my spirit, know the right steps. And it's just having the courage to know and discern that your spirit is always perfect in its decision making. It's only your ego that wants to alter and make you think you have control, and wants to change the perspective of things. But it's really understanding that when you operate spiritually, you remove all these things that you think are real. And when you're in that phase, or that battle with the devil that you don't see because you're just in your ego, you realize you can remove and do a 180 with your life, and go from late nights with girls, drugs, whatever it is, sex clubs, like I said, pushing the envelope. You can go from that to, if you have this habit, these habits, this lifestyle, the 0.1% lifestyle, and you're consistent with it, you're not missing, and you're putting God above everything, and understanding that everything is spiritual and not mental or physical. Then in a few short months, you could be an entirely different person. And it's not going to be something external you add or something that the world sees. It's you internally changing to the point where you feel like a different person. That's all that matters. It's how you see yourself. I always thought it was how the world saw me, so that's why I kept pushing in this space of more women and this and that. They had to see me with this type of girl and doing this, and I was always like trying to see how far I can show without showing the whole thing. Like, I was even willing to put like half naked girls on there if it showed that I was not the person I was before, because I was so against having the idea that I couldn't be with women, or me starting off, I was a late bloomer in that area. I believe, yeah, I lost my virginity when I was like 19, and my friends before me were like 16, 15. I was like last one, and my ego didn't like that. So it took the opportunity that was given to me when I broke up with my first girlfriend to go on this route. And that is why I just pushed it as much as possible, pushed it to the point where I collected bad karma, but also collected close calls, close calls with all the things I mentioned before. And it was God that was there the whole time. And it's funny because we spoke about something in a call today about miracles, and people believe miracles happen when you see them in front of you, but you don't see the miracles happening behind you. Let's say you're driving a car, you're always looking in the windshield, like your front of the car as you're driving the windshield, but you don't know what's happening behind you. You're never paying attention unless you're looking in your rear view, but you never do that unless you're switching lanes or parking, whatever it is. But when you're driving, you're simply looking in front of you, but you don't see the things that are happening behind you that God is preventing from happening to you. Maybe something falling on you. These are just obviously extreme examples, but in your life, you can only look back and see, okay, I did this and these things, but if these things tweaked a bit, I'd be a totally different person. If these circumstances or these things that happen, these consequences that I named before, like the pregnancy scares or STD scares, if those things actually happened, you never know. Like, you won't be here. I wouldn't be here speaking to you. I'd be a totally different person. So it's these little things, these butterfly effects that you don't see, and you believe it's something as dumb as you breaking a girl's heart is the ultimate consequence, or things that you're gonna basically confronting this lifestyle. Like I said, it gets as serious as allegations of rape, and I've had people that I know actually be charged for that, and I know them and they're good-hearted people, but it's just the nature of that lifestyle. It's you wanting something fast, you want the body fast, the flesh fast, the girl fast. So everything that comes fast, it comes with consequences, and you're getting the result, whatever it is, but you don't see in the back end what you're building up, the karma you're building up, the things that are coming towards you because you're with the devil, and you think that you're unstoppable, and you're sleeping with multiple girls, and you think you have this like shield or this aura, and you're like the king, and you're like, I don't need anything. I don't, you don't believe in God at all. You believe you are God, and it's all fake. It's really fake, and that's why my message can't stop. It's not going to stop, because even though people don't see it, and it's people will laugh at the message, and they're in it right now with their ego, and they think they're untouchable. Give it time. and you'll see how lost you can get, how you start to see the signs that you are with the devil, and you may not believe it now, but you will see it. And you never know when he's done with you. He's simply glorifying himself with you right now through your actions. But when he's done with you, he's done with you. He just leads you to the street, and then you realize who's actually with you, which is God, the one that brought you here, the one that created you, the one that gave you a purpose. Your purpose isn't flesh and being just another person that just responds to what their dick wants, or what's society, or what you think society responds to. So you do all these things for like status and showing off and all these things that you think are real, because the devil tricks you with feelings, and he makes you think of things that aren't real. These stories that he tells you, that if you do this and show this, then people will see you this way. They try to make you control things that are uncontrollable, and that is why you can easily lose yourself in this. And like I said, the stimulation begins to be something that you begin to get like accustomed to. It's like you taking a pill and your body gets immune to that pill, and you need more, stronger dose. The same thing with this, but it's people you're dealing with. It's not like a pill. It's women and relationships and people that you're dealing with that have purpose as well. Here they have souls, they have hearts, they have history, they have family that care about them, and you're damaging these people for your own self-gain. And then you believe nothing's going to happen to you on the side, or you're not building this bad karma, or you're not in the way of crossfire, or you're not seeing the warfare that's going on, which is where you don't see the spiritual. You believe it's all mental, and you're just listening to your endorphins and your dopamine and how you feel, and how you can get more sex and your testosterone, and you care about all these superficial things that don't matter. But the way out, like I said, is where you don't see, and that's where the whole battle is happening. That's why you can't go a couple days without being with somebody. That's why you watch porn consistently, or you're masturbating when you're not sleeping with somebody, or you need this validation from the world. So you post your things online, and you post yourself with girls, and you need the comments, you need guys patting you on the back and saying you're a player and you're a G gangster and big man and killing it, and all these things that I received that the most applause and validation when I was at my lowest, meaning spiritually. I was not there. I was just flesh, say a dead man walking. And when you actually connect with what was given to you by your creator to experience this life, the only map that is flawless, which is your spirit guiding you, and you actually get in touch with that, you realize how you can actually how fulfilled your life can actually be, how much meaning you can get to your life, how much purpose you can find again, as opposed to thinking purpose is pussy, really. And pussy and profit, that's what's sold to you. Fuck what, get money, fuck bitches, whatever. That's the whole motto when you're young. Yeah, that doesn't last. That does not last at all. So I mean, those that are ready for the message can connect to this. Those that are still in ego and have some more dancing with the devil to do, they won't be able to respond to it, or it won't hit that level of understanding. But like I said, I will keep sharing this message. I will keep being here when you are ready to understand the message or not, or when you understand it now or not. There's a reason why you keep needing extra stimulation, and where you can't be fulfilled with whatever you have now. If you have a girlfriend, or if you have multiple girls, you have 3, you need 4, you have whatever it is, you're going to sex clubs, now you need orgies. It's a reason why you need more of the flesh, and you feel worse and worse, is because the game that you're playing is not where eternity is. Eternity is spiritual. Freedom is spiritual. You being able to feel free of this lust, and this feeling of actual freedom will come when you connect with your spirit, and you realize that everything that you've been living is backwards. All the programming that you're following of multiple women, and when you're rich you can do what you want, and you can have multiple relationships, and break girls' hearts, because whatever it is that you see out there, it's all being programmed into you. But it's programming that is temporary and will not lead you to anything eternal. It will just lead you to darkness, more questions, more stimulation, like I said, more shame, guilt, regret. Regret, no, because there's nothing you can regret. Everything is perfect, getting you to where it's supposed to be. But shame and this low frequency, and you doing things that aren't right, but your ego is guiding you. Like for me the other day, I'll give you a quick example. I was playing soccer, and it's something that gets me in ego currently, but we're working on it. Something that I've seen how it can change perspective on it. But essentially, after the game, it was a pickup game. It was something that was very simple. Um, I ended up being an ego and criticizing these women. It was like a co-ed team, and I just said, I don't play with women that aren't attractive, and and I said, like, for instance, these ones, and it was like these two girls, and I mean, when you're in a place where you're, aligning yourself every day and doing the work to be connected and, be with God and obey Him, and you say something like that, seems normal to people that don't understand. But when you understand and that's low frequency, that's the ego. And, even me saying that, I realized myself saying that, and my spirit knew it was wrong. But my ego still continued and didn't apologize. It kind of just went along with it. That's how strong your ego can, really guide you to, things to do. It sounds, like I said, dumb, but things that get you out of the place where you can actually be fulfilled. When you're an ego doing something like that, I was doing it maybe for laughs, or maybe to show something that, some kind of status of doing that. These are all things that are fake. And, if you keep doing things like that, things of, chasing the things of this world, you will be remembered as that person that just did that. I want to be remembered as someone that went against the world. If he had to, went against, everything that people told him, because he knows the truth. And I know this truth. That's why I coach others with this and help others, because I've been able to get here myself, out of where I was, only 2 years ago, coming out of clubs in Argentina with a girlfriend at the time that, we weren't synchronized. It was simply a rebound, because of, someone I wasn't over. I wasn't doing any internal work at the time like I am now. So I didn't understand myself. I just understood, how do I feel right now? And, I just want, more sex. So I, got something with her, and there was no connection there at all. And I was losing myself more and more. So I started escaping more and visiting her, visiting me, us going to clubs, at that time, doing things with DJs, going to these events, these parties, and escaping with drugs, ecstasy. Then I went to ketamine. And even at one point I tried crystal meth. So, that's this was an accident. This was not actually on purpose. I don't want to go around trying these like hardcore drugs, but I was so lost in that, one small slip up of you not understanding what you're taking ends up being something that can destroy you. Like, that's why I said miracles are happening on the back end that you don't see. So, that's one miracle, that if I had taken a bit more, or whatever it was, so it was a different mixture, I'd be an addict. I wouldn't be here giving you this message, trying to give you faith to get out of where you're at. So that's why I said the miracles that are true miracles you'll never see, because they're in the rear view mirror. The things happening as you're driving and trying to focus on your present, but also going towards your future. You don't see the things that God is, protecting you from and shielding you. And that's why He's the truth. That's why, I have Him as my focus and what I focus on, because I know He brought me here. He made me escape things that, Him and I know. And, I'll disclose more of it as we go along, more of these authentic, just raw videos. But, these are things that He knows that He helped me to get here with. And, it was, like I said, everything was perfect and was supposed to happen that way. And that is why I have the conviction, the strength I have now in the message. And like I said, if it goes against the world, I don't care. Like, it's the truth, and it was given to me, specifically by God through experiences He made me live. And I saw the devil many times in that lifestyle, and that's why nothing can tempt me to go back into that. There's no amount of women or stimulation or whatever it is. There's no scenario where I can get back into it. And the work that has to be done is just making sure I'm aligned and connected and staying away from that frequency, because it's a frequency. Ego is a frequency. Everything is frequency. You thinking it's about how I feel and sex and porn and women and all this stuff, that's low frequency. That's you responding to your flesh. That's desire. That's desire and fear driving you. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being part of a community, whether even if it's a low frequency community, like people that just chase things, women, whatever it is, desires. That fear and that desire drives you, and that's low frequency. The frequencies that you want to be at and you will be at when you remove and, actually live the lifestyle that I've been given, um, and, that I preach and live every day, is you'll have, the ability to be grateful, be abundant, operate in love, operate in peace, um, have alignment, things that, are eternal and where you're actually searched for. When you realize at the end of the day that you were looking for peace the whole time, when you have a moment that your mind just turns off and you realize this is what I wanted, that is when you'll begin to realize where the answer is. It's not in more stimulation. You don't need, more of these highs. You actually, when you get to a place where you've done more of the things that you wanted or you think you want because the devil is driving you right now, you realize you want peace. So you're gonna have a place where God gives you that, and you realize, holy shit, this whole time is what I wanted. And you start to open your eyes and realize. But until then, your eyes are closed. You're wearing a blindfold. You think you have eyes, but you don't see. You think you have ears, but you don't hear. So this message won't reach you, and your eyes won't see what's real. And I didn't see what's real for a long time until I had my experience with the devil. So I want to avoid that for you, and I've been through it, so I know exactly what it is. But like I said, it's something that is glorified, and luckily I got out. I am a soldier of God now, and know my mission and what I have to do, and that's giving you this message, doing it in a way where it's authentic. It's not scripted. I'm not here, like 5 things to say. It's I want to give the highest message possible. The message is connected with me, myself, and do it aligned. And me, myself is why I remove the things on the back end that you don't see, relationships, low frequency habits I had, or behaviors, or things I was doing before. I removed a lot, like crazy amounts this year, and it's helped me see in like 5 months, not even a year, 5-6 months, and I've grown so much and have so much peace. And that's what I want to transmit through this video and show you guys that I walk the path that I preach. I don't do things unaligned. And, I know that this is the way that, or what I wish I had when I was 22, 23, just simply chasing the night, weekend after weekend, and thinking it was in this, and thinking that if I got, validation from people, that is what I needed, and it would give me peace finally. It's all lack, stemming from a belief that external is going to fix that. I was simply in lack, wasn't fixing that internally. And the more I got, the more lack I felt. So I just had to add more and more. And then when I finally got out, people were surprised and like, oh, like, why you're killing it? And, it's things that I realized that were not for me. And, God had a bigger plan for me. That's why, like I said, on the back end, he was performing miracles that I wasn't seeing until I looked back now and saw, holy shit, if this happened, I wouldn't be here. If this happened, I'll be dead. If this happened, I'd be arrested. So, it's next level when you see it. But, my whole goal is growing with you guys as well. Everyone is a work in progress, but when you have the one that has the wisdom, the truth, the source, and you connect with that, and humble yourself, remove the ego, that is when you can actually start to get in your power and your purpose and what you're here to do. You were created by something, perfect creator, someone that has all the answers, and that gave his son, a perfect person that was crucified by the world, that you and I was trying to validate themselves with. So think about that the next time you're posting something and trying to get applause from people, and validation from girls and all this stuff. Think about a world that you're trying to get approved by and validated by, like I was, that crucified a perfect person, that lived a perfect life, that lived spiritually, didn't have thoughts of ego or desire or lust and all these things, and never committed a sin in his life. And he walked this earth and was crucified at 33 years of age. So that's something I want you to think about as you go about your day. This is me posted on a Saturday. So this is where your time to shine, and your time to go for those things. Think about that and start to have some reflection and see where you're really at. Because like I said, I believed when I was in that it made me a big man or a big G to get girls. But what it actually makes you is a big G of the devil, because you actually weak in what matters most, which is spiritual. You are not able to remove the commands that are coming from your flesh, these little desires of, put your dick in this, or have this girl, get this kiss from this girl, or get this from this. You're responding to your flesh. And when you begin to realize that your flesh is one of the lowest levels of, commands that you can get, and you can move past that to getting commands from your conscience and above, and aligning yourself with that, that's when you actually become a true man. So that's what I went off with. Like I said, you'll see my Instagram, social media. I live this every day, daily, and I just give faith to those that are, in that place where they can hear it. But a person in ego has a hard heart, and they won't hear the message, the true message. So they are aligned with the world. And if you have people around you like that, unfortunately, you have to remove them. And they will see in time, or maybe they won't. But that's God's plan and not yours. The only thing that is in your control is what you follow. And if you're following the path of God, it's the hardest, but the most worth and the most fulfilling. Or you can follow the path of the devil, which gives you things fast, and you want the fast life, and you get fast this, fast that. But bit by bit, the more you get, the more you remove, and he removes your spirit and your connection to what's actually going to give you freedom and give you peace and what you're actually looking for. So that is what I want to end off with. Just reflections here with someone that's lived that lifestyle, knows the repercussions, knows what you're going into, and can get you out in so many different ways. It's simply just me speaking with you, understanding where you're at spiritually more than anything, energetically, and then just taking the steps to get you in a place where you're in peace. Because like I said, I've lived everything in that space. There's things that I've seen and seen other people do, and have experiences through third person that I've seen as well, that just gives you more perspective and understanding that it's something I believe strongly in, and I know that I'm here to spread this message, and I will keep showing up, keep posting these videos, keep giving us faith, and keep being a vessel for God, and giving me an opportunity, like I said, of these miracles I never saw in the moment, but I see them now, and it brought me here. So hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, only here giving faith, giving things authentically, giving value. And you can connect with me on my Instagram. I'll be posting more of these. I actually enjoy just speaking and doing it authentically, not writing down or thinking or what's it going to be. I just want to give power to those that are ready to hear it, give myself energy as well, because if I'm not in a good place, I can't help other people get to there. So I'm in the best place I've been in my life in a very long time. It's crazy. And when I had everything, being here is something that, in this place where I'm at, is something that I'm proud of, because I did the work and understood the sacrifice I had to make of the worldly things that I thought once mattered. So anyways, God bless. Until next time, you'll be able to hear the message, and on my Instagram you can hear it. But like and subscribe if you like the videos. More coming. And as always, until next time, keep killing it.